Hi, warm greetings to all. We have another 5 minutes to start our session. Thanks for joining. Please do wait for another 5 minutes for everyone to join. Hi, all. Warm greetings to all. Welcome to the PMI chapter webinar series. We are having a presentation on all about customers by Mia. Hi, Mia. Um, just to give a glimpse about PMI chapter, we are on behalf of. To, can you hear me? Hi.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. We are all work towards on behalf of advancing the project management professionals worldwide for PMI chapter. Yes, and the top reasons why PMI professionals joins PMI is the advantage we have towards accessing great books, and we also save money on your globally recognized certificate program. Get to join with a lot of local and global connections, and join with 100 plus templates, which is freely available in our website, and master new skills through webinars and events conducted by PMI chapter. And to give a glimpse about PMI UAE chapter, we are proud to be on the top 5 chapter globally in terms of members, and growing day by day. We are passionate about project and personal development, network, and education. And we are dependent on you in order to make our chapter activities and interactive and as vibrant as possible. So people can contribute to our activities through interesting talks, presentations, questions, corporate sponsorships, and help us out as a volunteer. And these are the enhancements we have in the PMI chapter for 2020 on networking, learning, knowledge sharing, chapter growth, and events. And under each we also have various other categories. Like for networking, we can collaborate with universities, leading organizations, and collaboration with other industry chapters and industry group. And likewise, learning, you have online forums, personal development enhancement for project managers, mentoring program, which is a newly listed one, and career growth program for young professionals, career growth program, PMI certification preparation programs. So you do get assistance for new members or people who are aspiring to get certification. You could reach out to expertise in PMI to get leverage to leverage on your learning. And you do have a lot of tailor-made events which are tailor made according to your particular professionalism. And we do have sponsors, our right. And we do have our sponsors, National Archives, and we would like to thank them for supporting us back to back on all our events. Ministry of Presidential Affairs and Dubai Health Authority and IIL are great partner in terms of giving materials. Yes, and to find about more on the upcoming events, you can visit our PMI chapter website, or you could also go to our, follow us on our social handles like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn as well. And in terms of the PDU, we get one technical PDU and one strategic PDU, and the PDUs will be automatically climbed to all the attendees who are attending. You need not climb it separately at your end. And for giving the PDU, we at least need 80% attendance on the webinar. So this is automatically calculated from the time we log in to the time we log out. And please to engage with the panelists through your chat and the Q&A. We have Natalia, who's facilitating our panelist forum here, and PDUs would be awarded to those people who are with 80% screen time, and with inactive users will not get the PDUs, and it will take 10 to 15 days for us to credit your PDUs. And yes, we are going to enter into our presentation all about customer success by Mia Shawky, the PMI chapter head and former CEO of Head and Customer Support Success at Eventus. Over to you, Mia. You could start your presentation now, Wallace.
Thank you, Mahendra, and thank you so much. Welcome everyone. Ramadan Kareem, and thank you all for making it at this late time in day. We actually are considering this our Ramadan edition of webinars. So this webinar and all upcoming webinars will come at a late time during the holy month of Ramadan. And then after Ramadan, we will go back to our normal timings. So everyone who was able to participate and join us today, thank you so much for that. I'm really glad to be talking about this topic, which is quite interesting to be speaking within the forum of the Project Management Institute, because why are we talking about customer success? Like it is something that might sound a little bit different than the normal project execution or project planning and implementation processes that we are all familiar with, and all the different topics that we're talking about. But I thought that a very good opportunity to talk about something that might be a little bit different. This is something, or this is a profession that I have been working at for the past 3 to 4 years. Like I started my career as a software developer, and then moved into the business sides of things, where I was a project manager for quite some time, a services delivery manager. And then I delved more into engagement management and customer success management, where I was the head of customer success management at a tech startup here in the UAE. And I thought it would be a good opportunity to talk a little bit more about what is customer success. So this presentation is just scratching the surface of what customer success management is. It is, maybe most of you have heard about it, maybe some of you are working as customer success managers or have been working with customer success managers, or you're just interested to learn about the profession. So what is customer success? Mainly speaking, it's a terminology that became very popular, especially with software as a services companies. But recently it has been increasingly used by retailers and healthcare providers and consumer product companies. It is a business unit. It is a department where you can typically find it in a B2B business, sometimes in some B2C, but mostly in B2B organizations, where this department is relying heavily on the customer relationship and how you can nurture this relationship and grow it. And the main purpose of customer success management is to maximize what is called the customer lifetime value through, of course, decrease in churn and through growing the product or the software piece or the service that you are providing through upselling, cross-selling, and through referrals. The purpose of customer success mainly is to align between the product value that you are providing as an organization and the customer needs that are using your product. And definitely, like if you want to know if this topic or this webinar will have some information for you, if you are someone who, as an organization or as someone working into delivering a product, who is concerned about long-term customer relationship and customer engagement, then you are in the right place. We will be talking a little bit about like the history of customer success. We'll be talking a little bit about what a customer success manager is, what are his strengths, metrics, KPIs, some tools. So we will be diving into a few different topics about this industry, and we will be like scratching the surface, but covering as much topics as we can. And one of the biggest drivers that is helping companies take interest into customer success are mainly two things. One is that most companies, especially in the software industry, are moving into a subscription model, where, as you know, like if you're using now Netflix, or if you have Amazon Prime, you are dependent on customers who are subscribing to your service or subscribing to your solution, and they're paying by month or paying by year. And in order for you as an organization or as a product provider to realize some revenue and to realize some success in selling your product, you need to have those customers alive and using your product for as long as you can. So the need to establish a customer success department or customer success managers is to help you working directly with the customers who, by nature of a subscription model, would actually dip their toes into the product and try it out. And if they don't like it, they'll just cancel the subscription. So how can you utilize or have a department or a culture within your organization, which is customer-centric, and establish a long lifetime with your customers? And the second factor that is driving industries and organizations to be interested about customer success management is the capability for products to actually capture data in terms of big data of all the different customer interactions and engagement within the product that can help you actually achieve more in terms of growth of the product and learning more about customer interests and customer insights and marketing trends that can help you grow and build a better product. And the key factor for or the key owner of actually looking into that kind of data of engagement on your product and helping direct the strategy of your product growth will be the customer success department. So before we talk about the current state of customer success, I wanted to like go down memory lane and try to understand like when this terminology started to become known in the market. And some of you or most of you actually might understand that customer success started at Salesforce in 2005. But in reality, this is not very true. So what happened previously, like before the age of software as a service, like 10 or 20 years ago, enterprise software companies, most of them had somewhat of a similar post-sale service structure where like you have teams that develops, codes, delivers, trains on a product, provide technical support, and collect invoices. And this is how typically software delivery cycles went through. There wasn't someone who was particularly responsible for the ownership of defining performance metrics and taking the customer's perception on the value they receive from the product. So yes, some software solution providers or some IT companies, they can have that rule given to account managers or project managers who are delivering a certain piece of software or a certain product to the customer. But there wasn't someone whose sole purpose or sole job is to actually ensure that this piece of software or this piece of product that is being delivered to the customer actually achieves what he really desires in terms of adoption and in terms of metrics and trying to understand if they are actually using that piece of software in the way it should be or not. And back in 1996, around 1996 and 1997, there was CRM company or product called Vantiv. And the CEO at Vantiv, John Lungo, he encountered an opportunity or saw an opportunity to replicate an innovation that he saw for someone or a customer who was using their product. So they delivered the product to a customer. He saw sort of an innovation or something that he wanted to replicate across different customers. So at that point, he hired Marie Alexander as the head of the services group at Vantiv. And she's the one who actually created a department that is called customer success. And she started to introduce that department to new contracts and new customers by telling them that, you know what, this is your customer success, that ensure that you are successfully using Vantiv or the product that we are selling. and their compensation, and that's like I wanted to add like lines under that, is based on your success. So not only that customer success are responsible for delivering this piece of software for you, but they want to ensure that you're actually using it and you're actually getting the most value out of this product. And that, I would say, was the initial idea or the initial concept of needing to have someone who's dedicated to ensure that you are providing the value of your product to your different customers. And not only that, of course, like we will talk later, how you can also use data and define metrics to actually enhance the experience of those customers using your product. Siebel, it's also another CRM company in 2004. Siebel, I think, was acquired by Oracle in 2005, a year after that. They also realized that they didn't have someone who was like dedicated or responsible for retaining, expanding the customer relationship post-sales. So at Siebel, they realized that like if you customer, the more you use the product, the more likely you will renew the license with them. So they also established a customer success management department, and their purpose was to make sure that you are using the product. And they were driven by churn rate, which is the number of licenses that are getting lost, and trying to reduce that percentage in order for them to be a successful business. Now we go back to the Salesforce story, where in 2005, Salesforce got to realize that they are making quite a good number of acquisitions. They're acquiring a lot of new customers, but their product was a bit complex for the new customers, so they had very high churn rates. It was actually mentioned in horrific numbers. So they quickly realized that they needed to have a customer success department to help battle the churn rate and to try to reduce that number. They called that department Life, and at that time, it was known to be the biggest customer success group in the entire industry. And this is where customer success grew to be known more by different companies and organizations in the industry. So that's why it's always tied to Salesforce that they started customer success, because they had the biggest customer success team in the entire industry at that point. And the customer success managers at Salesforce, their responsibilities were for renewals, upselling, cross-selling, and of course, to address customer retention by increasing user adoption. So to try to summarize, the mission of customer success is that they are the bridge between the company and the customer. They are there to increase sustainable proven value for both customer and company. I got this quote from a website called the Customer Success Association, and they have a ton of information and ton of guidance on what is customer success, how to establish customer success, history of customer success, and much more. And I would encourage you all to go to that website and get to know more information from that. In a nutshell, customer success is an integration function. So it is a department within an organization. And I would like to put a few lines under the word integration, because they are very much integrated into different functions within the organization. So they have a lot to do with marketing, they have a lot to do with sales, they have a lot to do with professional services, training, support, and product development, all combined within this job role or this organization. And like when we talk later, you will see that there are a lot of interconnections between how customer success and how can function within that organization. How it's important actually for customer success not to be in a silo environment, because they need to interact with different functions within the organization for the organization and for customer success to be successful. And actually, like I've been doing some readings and been listening to a lot of people talk about customer success, and it's not only about establishing a department or establishing a role of customer success. It's about how you can actually transform the culture of an organization to be more customer-centric. So customer success actually might not only be the responsibility for a single individual or a person, but it will be part of the entire culture of the organization, from sales, product delivery, project management, etc., etc. LinkedIn did a study by December of 2019. Of course, that was like before the current situation that we have. So the numbers might not be accurate now, but customer success was one of the fastest growing and emerging careers worldwide. And according to LinkedIn, it was actually ranked number 6 in the US as one of the fastest growing emerging careers, and number 3 in the UAE and in Germany. Especially that a lot of products and a lot of providers are going into the subscription-based model, and they're all interested into the idea of having customer success units or departments within their organization. I personally see that the number will still be high post the current situation that we have, because still maybe a lot of organizations right now are struggling to maintain and to retain all their customers. So there is a lot of work to be done by customer success managers to help into that kind of retention. And of course, like after the situation happens, a lot of new products and new ideas will come up, which will require user adoption and will require people to actually start using the new products and new services that will be in the market very soon, which again, indeed will require customer success to help in that. Right. So who is your customer success manager? According to all like the stories and the history that I was telling, seems that the customer success manager as an individual, as a person, is the customer's advocate. But honestly, I don't see that entirely accurate because I think that, yes, the customer success manager, of course, is the voice of the customer. They have to have a very good relationship and build on that relationship with the customers. But in order for a customer success manager to be successful and to help the organization also attain its value, they have to communicate and consult and provide the customer with the product in the best possible way by understanding, of course, the goals of that organization or that customer, and making sure that the product fits the goals in the correct way or in the optimal way as much as possible. And this is why I personally consider that he's not the voice of the customer. He's more likely the voice of the product or the product's advocate. He has to learn the product by heart. He has to know all the different features and all the different facilities that this product can provide to the customer to help him achieve what he's looking for in the best possible way. And this can never happen if that customer success manager does not have in-depth knowledge of the customer and comes from the domain of the customer, or at least has extensive domain experience with this customer. So like where I work, we are working on like providing events technology. And the idea is that all my customer success managers, they are dealing on day-to-day basis with event organizers or event directors or event marketeers. So they know very much about the events industry, how you can actually host an event as an event organizer, what are the daily tasks that you do. They have in-depth knowledge about the customer and they have extensive domain knowledge. So by learning the product by heart, we're able to give it to someone who I have a lot of experience with at the best possible way. So to simplify, any customer success manager who's responsible for this role, they have to have deep knowledge of the customer, extensive domain knowledge, and to be able to learn the product by heart and have all the different effective expertise on the product that we're selling, and to advocate for it for sure. All right, so what is the difference between customer success manager or customer support, customer service, or account managers? So mainly in different organizations, those are the people who actually interact with customers. But what is the main differences between them? And actually, it's like in the first line in comparison, there's always a keyword that I always try to get from customer success managers who I used to interview, which is the word proactive. In a typical customer support or customer service cycle, the main KPI or main objective of someone who's supporting the customer would be to close tickets. So customer support individuals, they are usually trained to be able to work on a CRM system, receive a number of complaints or number of tickets, and how they can actually react to that ticket or react to that complaint that is coming and close it as fast as possible, and make sure that we're counting the number of cases that they were able to close, as well as customer satisfaction, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a very reactive or response kind of activity, while customer success managers, yes, part of their job is, of course, to handle issues and handle problems, but it's more of providing value and building on a long-term lifetime value with the customer, and providing them with solutions by understanding their goals and metrics and KPIs, and making sure that we're delivering this piece of software or piece of product that fits the customer's need in the right possible way. And generally, customer success is more revenue focused. So not only that they want to make sure that they're delivering the value and everything, but they need to make sure that they are retaining the customer and making them sure that they renew, whether it's monthly or annually, to make sure that they're reducing churn rates, other scoring KPIs that we will talk about later. Account managers are by nature a little less proactive than customer success, because account managers usually focus on selling the product, making sure it's delivered, and making sure that we receive the money or the invoices on time. So their incentive is making sure that sales is done and collections are done on timely manner. So they do react to issues, but mainly the way account managers might panic or might handle issues is a bit in a reactive way. Some account managers are not like this, and of course they work towards building and nurturing the customer relationship and making sure that they are providing value to their customers. But by nature of the job, it's not that proactive as in customer success, and that's why customer success, in my point of view, is more of an evolution of typical account management as we are used to. Because customer success is mainly about defining problems and opportunities by collecting data points, metrics, and using those pieces of data and information a long-term strategy with the customers. So the focus is on the customer and how they can succeed on using the product, not only just selling the product and moving on to the next. All right, so what do customer success managers do on a daily basis? Typically, and of course, because, and that might be the main reactive part about being a customer success manager, would be to tackle churn threats. So customer success managers, through data and through access to data, have the ability to measure the health rate of a customer and to understand if this customer is about to renew or not, based on, say, for example, the renewal date is upcoming or something like this. So this is a code red customer, so we need to act upon that and make sure that this customer is happy, satisfied, using the product at the best possible way, and make sure that they are renewing. So this is one thing that they do on a daily basis. They definitely encompass the greater goal of value management and making sure that we are delivering value to our customers through the use of our products. Customer success are also participating in the technology or product design by communicating the feedback of usage and from the analytics of actual engagement and usage of the platform, and by being able to detect different patterns in the usage of the product and whether or not there are some complaints or something that repeating customers are always talking about, and communicating back this information to the product team to ensure that all that feedback and all this data is taken into consideration in the next product releases. Customer success also work directly with marketing to try to identify like different prospects and different opportunities and different ways that we can market the product and reach better sales opportunities. Customer success managers also work on onboarding and training activities with the customers to ensure that they get the maximum value of the product that they are using. And of course, and most importantly, they collect and analyze user data and engagement data from different customers to make sure that the experience of using the product is as seamless and consistent as possible. So that's like different definitions of daily activities customer success managers do. The other very interesting article that I came across was some insights done by McKinsey, where they see that by recent trends, especially with the growth of software as a service solutions and companies, there is a trend that we are in the beginning of a new era which they called customer success 2.0. So previously, like in mid 2000s, as we were talking about the Salesforce situation, they saw that software as a service vendors faced major problems as they were investing a lot in customer acquisition. But as products grew and became more complicated, there were higher churn rates and people were actually leaving the product away. So it resulted in lower adoption and usage rates, which led to a higher churn. And that's where customer success 1.0 was established by having someone who's focused on churn reduction and helping software as a service companies achieve their goals and adoptions as they were planning to. So customer success 2.0 is mainly focused on growth in addition to churn reduction, and it's where it's kind of used by B2B companies to change the customer lifecycle management approach, where the idea is to leverage the customer success manager's intimate customer knowledge and relationship and surface opportunities to provide relevant solutions and expand on the customer value. And actually, research and numbers do say that existing customers actually account for 1/3 to 1/2 of the total growth revenue of any organization, and the cost of revenue for expansion from existing customers is way less or a fraction of those from acquiring new business. So customers and organizations need to focus on their existing customers because they can generate almost half their revenues from existing customers with less effort and less cost than acquiring new customers and getting them in. So they established what was called the customer success philosophy, and they came up with this 5-element philosophy design of customer success 2.0, where they integrate the customer success role into sales activities and within the sales organization as well. Like I was reading an article about how customer success and sales can work actually together, because sometimes a salesperson can actually oversell, and it becomes a problem of the customer success, who's the product advocate and the expert of the product, to actually convince the customer that no, you didn't buy this, you bought that, and this is the best way you can do it. So it was always said that the best way to make sure that we don't run into those kinds of issues is to actually make the sales team and the customer success team sit together, closer to each other, sales to be part of the customer success onboarding kickoff meeting to make sure that they handed over everything to the customer success correctly, and to communicate with each other to ensure that whenever a salesperson is trying to sell something and he does not know if we do this or not, if it's part of the pipeline or not, they go back to the customer success manager for that kind of information. So by integrating the customer success role within the sales organization, this helps actually grow the organization in a better way, or grow the department, or the philosophy of being customer centric in a better way. And of course, because like the customer success manager is a powerful asset that like combines both product knowledge, domain experience, and intimate understanding of the customer's objectives. So having them sit together is definitely a plus. Also, one of the points that they were highlighting while talking about customer success 2.0 is the idea of funding the department itself. So like many organizations were forged like at the very beginning of their product establishment to have customer success managers and give them away as a freebie, or like as like, you know what, you're buying the product, you get a customer success manager with it. And actually the organization where I came from, we fell into that issue. We were giving out customer success managers time and effort to all the different customers that we had. And it wasn't really justified easily to the CFO that like, what is the costing of the customer success manager and how we can fund that department to make sure it's also a profitable and revenue generating department. So we saw some organizations doing that, and other organizations were actually giving customer success managers as premium service to certain customers based on different budgets that they're paying annually or something like this. So by looking into different models, companies or leading companies realized that after doing some research and analysis and quantitative analysis, they realized that the best way to offer and to fund customer success is to provide it through different spectrum of offerings from free to premium, meaning that if you're buying this tier or this category of the product, you get that level of customer success management involvement. And if you buy the higher end of the product, or like the enterprise level of the product, you get a higher or a more dedicated customer success approach with your organization. They're talking a lot about the different and what's the best for your organization. So I really encourage you all to click on that link. We will be sharing the presentation slides and everything on the PMI UAE website. Go through that, read through it if you are interested more on establishing a customer success department in your organization. Companies, of course, work on identifying the talents and capabilities for skilled and talented customer success managers, and how to develop a career path for them. More recently, we now can hear about a chief or a C-suite role, which is called a chief customer officer, who's like the top head of the customer success department. We have head of customer success departments, manager in customer success, and even customer success associates. So how you can define and establish different roles and different growth paths for the unit, and the different roles and responsibilities between customer success managers. And of course, it is very important for organizations to take advanced analytics to predict customer behavior and engagement on the product that you are selling. And I was speaking with a friend of mine who's working as a customer success manager in a different organization, and he was telling me that the customer that they sold the product to are not giving them access to data and engagement on the product to help them like analyze the usage of the product and how they can actually help the customer achieve a better usage of the product. And I like, my simple answer to him, well, then you're not doing a customer success job. You're just doing a typical analytical product delivery and account management follow-up. It is core and very essential for the customer success managers to have access to engagement and analytical data that can help you make decisions on better usage of the product that you're serving. You don't have that information, you are not helping your customer to achieve a better goal or achieve their metrics according to the plans that you have put. And the last point, again, is about the philosophy of evolving customer success from being just a sales activity or account management activity to more of a organizational culture and philosophy. So it's not just the sole purpose of one person, it's of the entire organization. So where do customer success managers sit in a typical Agile delivery lifecycle? So in a typical Agile methodology, you usually have the product backlog, you have different sprints. Sprints can be like 1 to 4 weeks, and you have work increments of the different product. So where do customer success actually come into play when it comes to a product or an Agile delivery lifecycle? So this RACI metrics is kind of defines the responsibility and like the accountability for a customer success manager within a product lifecycle. So definitely at the part of the product backlog definition, customer success manager should be consulted and informed about the backlog. It's one of the worst things ever if a customer is talking to the customer success manager who built a very good relationship with and is asking about a certain product feature, and the customer success manager does not know if this feature is coming or not, if it's part of the road map or part of the backlog or not. At least having that information, it gives trust. And even knowing if it's coming at a certain date or time or certain quarter or something like this gives more intimacy and helps in building the relationship between the customer and the customer success manager. Sprint planning. Customer success managers shouldn't be involved in sprint planning, but they should at least be informed, knowing what is coming up. Work increments of the product. So if you have any increments, updates in the software product, you should be consulted and informed about it. If there is a change log in the product, you should be informed about it. Product documentation, it differs from one organization to the other. So some organizations give the product documentation responsibility to the product team, and some other organizations, like my organization, which I used to work with, that we gave the responsibility for product documentation to the customer success manager, because the customer success management was responsible for the knowledge base of the product, and they had the better use of language with the customers. So being part of the industry and knowing the customer and knowing what they do, they had the better use of terminology and language that hits directly into the customers' minds and hearts. So it was better for customer success managers to actually also own, at least for us, the product documentation. But in other organizations, they might only be informed or consulted about the documentation that is coming out. Expanding the product's revenue, that's 100% the accountability and responsibility of the customer success manager. Reduction of churn and increasing retention, it's a customer success manager responsibility and accountability. And of course, the customer lifecycle management and ensuring that the customer is loyal and is using your product and is renewing with you is the responsibility and accountability of the customer success manager. So what are 5 tips for helping customer success managers succeed? Definitely defining and implementing a customer success or a customer lifecycle management strategy within the organization is the first thing that you need to do if you don't have a customer success management part or responsibility within your organization. Again, it might be something new, but if you are an organization that is concerned about your relationship with the customer and you are an organization that wants to build on that relationship and you want to grow it, then you need to have a customer success strategy within the organization, whether it's just as simple as having a proper knowledge base and having proper way for customers to learn about your product and to use it at the best maximum way, or by creating actually a customer success department, leveraging the data analytics and information and the intimacy and the relationship with the customers to grow it. So you as an organization, you need to establish this if you are concerned about customers. If you are building something that is not related to customers, then you don't need a customer success department or a customer success, customer lifecycle management strategy. Second important thing to make sure that the customers succeed is to definitely educate your customers. Try to find their success criteria. That's like the first question that we always do in any of our onboarding meetings or product onboarding meetings is sitting with the customers and understanding what is your success criteria. How would you consider this product as a success? And that's the starting point for you to try to fit the product within the customer needs and customer metrics. Continuously onboarding your customers, so it's not just an effort that you do once and they're starting to use the software and that's it, or so they're starting to use a product and that's it. You need to make sure that they're using it correctly as long as it goes and as long as the lifespan of that customer with you is going. There will always be product improvements, there will always be new teams, new initiatives, new ways of doing things in a better way, and you need to continuously onboard your customers on your product and make sure that they use the latest and greatest of the product that you are delivering. To make sure that your customers succeed, you need to integrate and communicate with other teams. So customer success managers or customer success departments cannot be a silo function. They cannot work on their own. They need to work directly with sales, with marketing, with the production or product teams, and of course with the customers to make sure that they're integrating all the efforts together and making sure that we're maximizing the value provided for both the customer and the product. And to promote customer loyalty and product advocacy. So the best person who would actually sell your product is someone who's actually using it. So if you're able to reach a strong relationship with your customer in a way that they are advocating for your product and they're saying like, we are using this product, we love it, it's helping us achieve our KPIs and metrics, and this is the return on investment, and they speak with other organizations, they're actually helping selling your product. So by focusing and shifting your philosophy into promoting the customer loyalty and product advocacy, that will help you grow your organization or grow the revenues for your product. I'm almost about done. Just a few slides. Again, like I didn't mention this at the beginning, but we have our Q&A section on the webinar. Just please, if you have any questions, type in the questions that you want, and right after the slides, we will give like a 5-minute break for everyone to add their questions, and we can prepare them and go through the Q&A session. So please, like, use the tool, get engaged, ask questions, and I'll be happily answering as much questions as we can. So talking about customer success manager KPIs, definitely it differs from one organization to the other. So, and it depends on a few things. Like one is the product that you're selling. What are the contract durations? Are they monthly? Are they quarterly? Are they annually? If it is monthly, then every month you have a code red customer and you need to action them in a certain way. But if your contracts are annually, then at certain times you will have code red customers. So depending on the way you're selling your product, the extensibility of the product and the feature list. So is it a growing product? Do you sell multiple tiers of that product? Do you have a lot of hidden features and hidden customizations that you can give to the customers, maybe at a certain cost or not? So all of that will differ on the KPIs that you define for a customer success manager. And lastly, your ability to collect and capture activity data points. Typical customer success manager KPIs would be, of course, the churn and retention rate, customer satisfaction score, or CSAT, that's what it's called, NPS or customer health score, like NPS, number of support calls, references, loyalty, the invoicing history, etc. All of that can be different KPIs that you define for a customer success manager. And of course, the activities and usage. We actually, in my organization, we were putting the application engagement rate as a KPI in a customer success manager. If you get high adoption on the application and you get high engagement, then you're doing a good job. If people bought the application that we were selling, the mobile application, and no one is using it, then you're not doing your job as a customer success manager. And this is where integration come into play. So as a customer success manager who's working with the customer, they need to make sure that they are promoting the app, providing all the different marketing materials for the application so people can actually start using it, and integrating and working with the marketing department in our organization, the marketing department in the company's or the customer's organization, and making sure that they have all the material and all the information they need to help them promote the application that we were selling. That was part of the role and KPIs of our customer success manager to ensure that people are actually using the product or the software that we're selling. Then customer success managers, in general, they can work without tools, or like they can use normal tools like spreadsheets, emails, documents, like normal communication tools and tracking tools. However, there are a lot of customer success management software tools in the market. I'm gonna go through like a list of some that I've seen personally and try to use personally. But in general, like if you are considering in your customer success department to have a tool, you need to look into several things like, for example, if you have the ability to track product usage and customer engagement or not in the tool, if you have the ability to have like retention and renewal gauges, which like marks to you if you have code red customers or not. If you have the ability to provide health scorecards such as NPS and CSAT scoring, 360-degree customer profile, knowing like the history of the customer, what they bought, what they migrated to, what they upgraded, who were they talking to before, etc. Tools to communicate, like to unify the communication with customers. So maybe you can have a chatbot and an email client where you are able to always communicate with your clients. To have, of course, alerts, call to action notifications, to provide the knowledge base and FAQs to the product that you are selling, and of course, to be able to build an interactive report builder and integrate with your marketing platform. So mainly, most of the features you can find in pretty much any customer relationship management software, but some of them are pretty focused on customer success KPIs and metrics. So they are tailored more for customer success managers to leverage and get the most out of the software tools. Some of the tools, for example, is a product called Gainsight. Actually, like Gainsight is my personal favorite, but it's the most expensive that I've seen. There's another product, Tango, Churn Zero, Intercom, Client Success. Intercom is very popular as a customer success platform, and Freshworks, of course. The thing that I like about the Gainsight as a product itself is that they are not only providing a customer success product, but they also built a community for customer success managers. So they host an event called Pulse, if I'm corrected. And this event's like they have an annual event in the States and another annual event in Europe, in London, I guess. And the idea was that they collect and bring in thousands of customer success managers and customer success professionals and chief customer officers from all around the world and talk about customer success. So they're not just providing the product, but they also provide the community and information about customer success management in general. There are some books and conferences, and like here I have actually a link for the Pulse conference. Next one, because of the current situation, is going to be a virtual conference, and they made it free for everyone. So I would encourage you, it's happening next month. There is also a lot of communities about customer success. There's the Customer Success Network. They have a chapter also in UAE. I encourage you all to like connect with them as well. I attended a lot of sessions with them. Very informative and very helpful information that we talk about. And of course, there are a lot of books about customer success, customer economy, and like how to grow and help have like promote and move the philosophy of the organization from being a functional organization to a more customer-centric organization. That's pretty much it. Like, please, I will be glad if we can connect. This is my phone number, my email, and my LinkedIn profile. If you can scan it, I'll leave this screen open for Q&A. And I think we can take just like a 5-minute break until we get all the questions in, and then we can run through the questions all together. What do you think, Natalia, Andren?
Yes, thank you, Mina, for such a great presentation on such an interesting topic. And I can, I don't know if you were following the chat and the Q&A window, but there are a lot of encouragement and a lot of thanks for such an interesting topic and such an interesting presentation. So great job on that. And there are some questions. And yeah, I think it's a good time to take a small break and to think back on what we just heard and put some more questions. And I will be glad to enter the discussion on them. So let's meet at 11 o'clock. Is that okay for everyone? Great. Okay, it's 11 o'clock and I would like to welcome you back. Thank you, Mina. Hope you also had a good break, got something to drink and move around a bit. Great, great. So let's start with some questions. And I have one question that I was thinking of. We are all project managers, right? And for project managers, it's the specific of our work is that our project is done at some point, right? It's one of the definitions, criteria for the project. And usually it is done before you can actually evaluate how satisfied your customer is with the product. So what is the role of project manager within this customer satisfaction journey on one side, and on the other side, how could the organization or the project sponsor maybe try to motivate project manager to look at the customer satisfaction during the project?
Okay, so you can hear me, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's a very good question, and again, as I was saying at the very beginning, I actually come from a project management and project delivery. Like I have been doing it for years, maybe, or something like this, before I delved into customer success management. And the idea is that typically, as a project manager, you're mainly concerned into delivering a satisfaction. Like I'm not trying to figure out the right word for it, but delivering product value to your customer, and you're mainly concerned with product timeline, making sure you're delivering the scope that is required and within the time and budget that is aligned to that project, making sure you're communicating with the project team and delivering all of that. So you are very highly involved into delivering the project while communicating with your customer and making sure that you are covering the requirements that they need and they are delivering the different deliverables for that product or the project in the correct manner. Customer success management, it's a bit of a shift of the mindset where you're actually focused on not only that the product is delivered, but it's actually being used. So in a typical software project life cycle, we actually, like even in the organization that I was working with, because we were not a software as a service company, so we were actually building the product for each and every customer that we were working with. We had the project management team responsible entirely for delivering the project, and the customer success team who were responsible for onboarding and delivering the product to the customer and making sure that they're using it. And the customer success role, as it integrates with the product or the project team and the customer, they were responsible for taking the journey with the project team from like the planning and aligning everything and making sure that the customer is always also aligned and making sure that we're advocating the product, and as well as being the voice of the customer within the delivery of the project. And then after the project is delivered, this is where customer success actually start to work heavier into making sure that it's actually used. So you're not just delivering the project and running away and working on a different project. You have to stay with the customer, stay consistent with them, and make sure that you're using it to the maximum value that they bought this product or project for.
Right.
There is a lot of integration between a typical project delivery and customer success management.
Yes, thanks. Thank you so much. And I think that in the future, the roles will be even more blended as we are moving towards even more of the project economy, and customer satisfaction will be one of the drivers for successful projects. There was a question that how come that customer success managers are assigned to projects when something bad, when the project is already in trouble. So would you suggest that customer success managers would be assigned early to project and this role would be taken early on?
Yes, the role of customer success management, as we were mentioning, and the main difference between customer support or technical customer support and customer success management is the proactive factor of being a customer success manager. So I'm not assigned as a customer success manager to this project or this customer to just handle issues and handle problems. My job is to actually make sure that they are using that piece of product or software that we are delivering at the best possible way, which of course entails that we are also handling problems and handling issues, but the main purpose is not firefighting and handling issues as much as making sure that you're getting the maximum value of the product that you're buying.
Yes, thank you. There have been a few questions about the role of customer success management in projects and roles in construction and design consulting. So how do you can elaborate on that?
That's a very, very interesting question. So customer success management as a role was defined mainly by software companies, I would say. Those are the organizations that started to adopt the word customer success management more, especially software as a services companies. However, the recent trends started to see that a lot of different like healthcare organizations are starting and definitely construction or like consumer goods product houses are starting to adopt the concept and the idea of customer success management. Mainly speaking, if you are an organization and you are concerned about the customer life cycle management, or you are concerned about having a longer, healthier relationship with your customer where they are renewing their agreements with you, then you need to have a customer success management department with you. How it works with construction, I'm not from the construction industry, so I cannot give an exact example for that. But there are a ton of articles on how customer success management can fit into the different industries. I can look some up and share with the group if you want. But mainly, like in a nutshell, if you're an organization, you're concerned about your life cycle management or the lifespan of your relationship with your customer and you want to grow it, then you need to adopt a customer success strategy somehow.
Thank you, thank you. There are some more questions about the skills and the competencies of a good customer success manager, and how do they differentiate from, and how should they differentiate in the role and in the skill set between, for example, program manager, because apparently there is some confusion in some organizations between the program manager and the customer success manager on one side. On the other side, you have situation that many account managers are moving toward customer success management. So do you think that they have the necessary skills, and how's the technical side? Because it's going more into the technical direction. So it's a broader set of questions about the skills and the role of the customer success management.
Actually, a funny thing, I was actually reading an article about this a couple of days ago, and there was this, it was actually a video, not an article, and it was very funny that whoever was talking in the video was saying that, you know what, this is a new role. It was just defined like less than 10 years ago, and no one knows exactly what the skill set of a customer success manager is, because it's very diverse. You can actually like interview someone from a marketing background who would be a very good customer success manager, or from a project management background who would be a very good customer success manager, or a sales or account management background who would be a very good customer success manager. So the idea or the ideal customer success manager for your organization, there's no typical skill set to define whether he will be a fit for that role or not, but you, as someone who's looking for a customer success manager, should know a few things. One, does that person understands the industry that you are part of? If you are selling, like for us, we were a software company that was selling software solutions or products for the events industry. So do my customer success manager understand about the events industry? Do they have, or do they have they know the rationale of the work that needs to be done inside the events industry? Do they have the skill set to be able to see different patterns and try to understand where the market is going and what the people demand is, or the customer demand is, for a certain type of product or not? And of course, they have to be very good communicators, and like they have to show empathy for customers and to be able to understand where the customer is coming from, what his need is, and how he can communicate this back. Definitely, if there's a chance that he has technical expertise as well. Actually, like some organizations, they required customer success managers who had software development skills. Like I was being interviewed actually for a customer success manager role a few years back, and they asked me like, "Do you know C#?" And I was like, "Yeah, I used to be a developer, but that was like 12 years ago." And no, our customer success manager must have development skills because he would be also solving some C# coding skills. So it differs from one organization to the other, but as long as you have someone who knows the industry, is able to detect and understand patterns of customer needs and what they're looking for, he has empathy, he's a good communicator, he has some technical skills, that would be the skill set needed for a good customer success manager.
All-rounder has to
and
identify problems and be able to solve them along the way.
Honestly speaking, like from my personal experience, because this role integrates a lot with different roles. So coming from a software development background and coming from a project management background, I was always narrow-minded around good coding structure, good architecture, delivering on time and on budget and all that stuff. But I had very limited knowledge about how products are being marketed and very limited knowledge about how products are being sold. Being part of the customer success management, I had to use my skills as a project manager and a software developer at one point, as well as learn and hone new skills in marketing and in sales, and to be able to use all of this together to help me grow in the customer success role. So a good customer success manager should be able to integrate with the different departments and different roles, and to be able to communicate the different languages of each and every function in the organization, and to use all of that to help grow the company goals and values.
Yes, great, thank you. There's a question: in which industries and department has actually customer success management made its way through the organization? I would probably formulate this question even broader, because I think it should at least make its way in almost any industries. And you also said that, okay, if you don't have any, like final customer, then you probably don't need customer success management. But I think that everything that we produce or create has a customer. We just need to, So maybe you can offer us some examples of some industries that are especially strong in customer success management, and maybe some industries that are quite lagging behind.
So I would say the main industry that is really good in customer success management would be software industry at the moment, or like technology companies who provide software as a service. Through like I was mentioning in an earlier slide about the customer success network, which is a community of people, and they have different chapters around the world. When we used to meet up in Dubai, we had people from Microsoft, from SAP, from Cisco, from our company, of course, and from where else. So all the major players in technology, from Oracle as well. So Oracle, Microsoft, SAP, and Cisco, and ourselves, and of course other different companies, they all had customer success departments. And the funny thing is that each and every company, they had a different definition of how customer success happens. So I remember in SAP, the customer success role was actually split a little between two. Like I won't be the best person to talk about them, but I remember that there was one who was sales centric and one who was more service centric. Another example was Microsoft. Their customer success managers were actually technical architects. So they were very much into coding and very much into cloud architecture. And like each and every organization had a different definition of the customer success management role. But I would say in the IT industry, this is where customer success manager is highly adopted. Any company that is selling something as a service, whether it's like a software as a service or a platform as a service, usually they do have customer success management departments. Startups, a lot of them do have customer success management departments, especially also in the software. Again, I'm from the IT industry, so this is what I know and I have been involved in more. But definitely there are a lot of different examples in different industries, because I have been reading about this a lot, especially in, like, I don't want to speak about an industry that I have not a lot of knowledge about, but I have seen a lot of customer success within the healthcare organization, for example.
Right, very good. There is one interesting question about the size and the position of customer success team within the organization. So how would you, in your experience, what would be a good size of customer success team comparing to the marketing team or sales team? Like, obviously, for small organization, it's smaller, but for large, it's larger.
It differs from one organization to other. Like in our organization, we considered customer success as part of the operations team in the organization. Some other organizations consider them as part of the commercial team. So the headcount usually is part of the percentage of the commercial team or percentage of the operations team. In my organization, for example, it was around 20% of the organization. That was the operations team, and that was the customer success capacity. And the way we operated was that we had salespeople who were selling the product. We had marketeers who were marketing and also selling the product, but no one was 100% responsible for managing the customer and managing the life cycle of the customer and ensuring that they renew, except for the customer success team. So we were a big team, we were not a small team, and we were responsible for all the customers that were working for the product that we were selling or the company that we were selling. So even salesperson, they pitch a sale, they build the relationship with the customer, but once they do that and once they sell and they sign the contract, they hand it over to the customer success manager and they run away trying to find a different sale and a different lead. And the whole relationship is built by the customer success team. So we were a big department.
Right. So it also sometimes depends on the exact role definitions, where they start and where they end, comparing to marketing and sales. So that would be also some criteria. If you have participated in some customer success team organizational implementation project, what's your experience? How long does it take to build up a customer success team until they can start operating, until they can deliver value?
I would actually answer in two things. One is that, is your company or product already established or not? So if you are a startup, for instance, and you are starting up a new product, is it good to have a customer success team at the beginning? I would say no. In the startups industry, having a customer success is essential when you are at a growth stage. So like pre-Series B or maybe pre-Series A, where you have a product, it's tested, it's used, you're able to sell it to a few customers, there's traction over there, and you want to grow and you want to scale, this is a good time to establish and start to have a customer success department. And of course, if you are a startup company and you have the product in place, it's important to build the metrics and build the ability to capture data and engagement data on the product to actually like have a customer success team who would actually do something on the product, not only sit there and handle problems or handle issues or try to onboard the people on the product. So when is a good time to have a customer success department? If you are establishing a new product, then definitely at a growth stage, not at the beginning of the establishment. Now, if you already have a product or you are an organization and you have a set of customers and you want to establish a customer success department, you actually need to take a step back. If you don't have it already by now, then you need to have a customer lifecycle management strategy. And in order to do this, you need to plan the strategy, try to understand where our organization is going, how are we going to change the culture and the philosophy of the organization to be more customer-centric, and then you try to establish the department, the roles, the responsibilities, the tools, the processes, etc. And it can range from like a 3 months project until a year or a couple of years to establish a fully functional customer success department. So again, it's up to the strategy that you have. If you have the strategy in play and you have the plan to execute that strategy, if you know where you want to go with your organization and in terms of the customer lifecycle management strategies of that organization, then that's a good step. Implementing it can range from 3 months. Like it can be a very simple process of hiring the right people and the right talent and starting to put in a process in play to ensure that you have a good retention and good customer relationship management and plan, up to a year or 2 years where you're building up the process, building up the team, building up all the knowledge base, the documentation, the materials, the tools that you need. It really depends, but it can be as short as 3 months.
Right, thank you. There's another question about, you were talking a little bit about the KPIs for successful customer success management. People are saying, okay, it sometimes can be a bit subjective, so how happy they are. What would be some of the objective, or how to make it more objective, how happy they are? Is it the surveys, or is it the, how would...
Well, I wouldn't say it is too subjective. Yes, well, at the end of the day, if you want to measure customer happiness, you have to ask them. And if they are happy, they're either going to tell you that they're happy or they're going to tell you, no, they're not happy. And if they're not happy, then you need to address that. The thing is, like when we talk about NPS score, for example, it's a 1 to 10 scoring sheet where you ask the customer, are you happy with the product? He will give you a score from 0 to 10. It's as simple as that. He might be someone who would always give 10, or someone else who always gives 5, like he's in the middle. But if you get that kind of response, you need to action upon it and you need to respond to it. So there is definitely a subjective manner in it, but not that much. And I haven't seen it as an issue, like collecting different customer surveys and customer satisfaction scores throughout my engagement with different customers. At the end of the day, are they renewing with us? Are they paying again? Then that's a KPI that we need to capture and we need to make sure that it's there. And that's not subjective. If they're not renewing, then there's a problem.
Right. That's quite a good criteria. There are some, there's a question like if you have customers or customer groups that would demand or expect some additional works or services to be done free of cost, how would customer success manager react to that?
Don't we all have that? Like, I think through Maze, like I have been delivering software for like what 15 years now or something like that, and never had I ever had a customer that didn't ask for more and didn't ask for something to be done for free and didn't ask for going the extra mileage and all that stuff. It always happens. It comes down to again your strategy and how you're handling it. A good thing about customer success and something that we always encourage when we speak about customer success management is don't over customize and don't over promise. Be sincere, be honest. This is what we have. This is what we can do. This is our roadmap. We have this. We don't have this. End of story. A good customer, and actually this is where like always when I come back and say that I was happy working with that customer or the other customer, is their level of understanding of what they want. And to me, a great customer is someone who asks, Mina, do we have this in your product? Yes. Mina, can we do this with the product? No. End of story. They understand that they're buying something. It has limitations. It has its goods and bads. It has its roadmap. And actually, they come back to me sometimes and say, like, Mina, like, please do not overpromise me something, or please don't give me something in an early release or something like this, because I need to make sure it's functioning at the best possible way before I start using it. I have customers who come to me and say that. And like those are the best customers ever. But mainly speaking, be honest about it. If there's something that you can do it. If it's not part of the product roadmap, if it's not part of the product scope, if it's not part of the product pipeline, just say no. Be very honest. Try to explain why. Try to understand and have empathy and have to like understand why they are asking for it and how you can. If you can make it happen, then make it happen. But if you can't, you can't. Just be clear about it. It's not like, don't take it personal and don't take it as a step to increase and enhance my relationship with the customer by trying to give them what I don't have, because it will actually fire back at you.
Right. I think you were saying that you have some best customers ever. I think they also have the best customer success customer success manager on the other side. And as we see it at the very bottom, it boils down to the relationship between the people doing the business. So that's why you get the best customers, I guess. There are some more. I'm just reading some of the appreciations. There are many sayings that thanks, great, wonderful presentation. There's one a comment that great presentation coming from the industry. I can tell you have touched so many of the challenges and companies that presented with trying to integrate customer success management function in the existing organizations. Thank you for such an informative session. It's just one of them. So back to the questions. One somewhere, I lost it. Went off.
I see a comment here on chat. I just want to address it about the PDUs. So someone had lost connection with WebEx and reconnected. Will it affect his attendance? No, as long as you were able to attend most of the session and you logged in with the same email, it will be fine. No worries.
All right. I have remembered the question that I stopped at. If you have experience internationally, how would you compare customer success management as a function in UAE comparing to internationally, especially for retail industry?
I think it's a bit new in the UAE. Like the number of organizations that I've seen had customer success management departments are very few in comparison to like in the States and in Europe. But it is a growing and emerging role and responsibility in the market. There is a lot of demand for it, especially when we talk about the startup scene here in the UAE and in the Middle East in general. A lot of new product companies are coming up and startups are coming up, and all of them they do try to sell in a service-oriented matter or a subscription matter, and they all demand having success functions within their organization. I've seen that a lot. I've seen it growing, but again, when it comes to maturity or when it comes to like in comparison with different regions, right now I would say we were at the early stages right now of establishing proper customer success across different boards.
We have talked about that almost any industry would have customers at some point and would need customer relationship management. There's a question about oil and gas industry, who would be there? So the difficulty there is to identify the customer on the one side, and on the other side to justify the need for customer success management as a function in the organization. Do you think it would be beneficial for this industry as well?
Absolutely. Again, I don't want to answer something that is not part of my expertise, like oil and gas industry, for instance. However, again, if you are in the oil and gas industry and you are selling a product or a service, and whether this product is subscription model or just a one-off product that you're selling that has some customizations or some upgrades that you want to upsell or cross-sell as you are selling this product, and you are dealing with a customer and you want to retain the subscription, or you want to retain the contract with that customer to continue renewing it, then you need to establish a customer lifecycle management strategy, which entails having a customer success department in a sort of way. How does it work in the oil and gas industry? I cannot tell the details because this is not my domain.
Right. There's another question about how to extend the engineering industry. So I guess it would be the same. So you just really have to engage with your customers, identify the customers in that industry, find the specific KPIs, define the specific roles. But one thing that's probably undisputable is that you do have to engage with customers at any level. There was a question we have been talking about customer relationship management within the project. So there was a question, how can we incorporate customer success management, into the project without impacting the scope? I would say that we should include it in the scope before we plan the project, but maybe you can give some advice for projects that have already been planned.
It's not really part of the scope of the project. So if we are talking about budgeting, or we are talking about funding the customer success department or role within a certain project, the funding should come from a different source, not from the project scope or not from the project budget. And the customer success role actually comes into play when it comes to the project planning and understanding the requirements of the customer, etc., etc. But the majority of the play comes actually after delivering the product, where now we have the project, it's ready, the customer will start using it. The customer success manager will be the one responsible for training, onboarding, making sure that you're using the product, capturing data, making sure that you're using it the right way, you're getting the right information from it, you're returning the investment on the project itself, and you are renewing the license with us. So the majority of the customer success work, I would say, would be post-delivery, not meaning that they don't have something to do before delivering the project, but definitely after delivering the project, this is where the majority of the work of a customer success manager will be in place. So I wouldn't, as an organization, budget it or put it like fund the role of customer success management as part of the project. It's a function. It's sort of a different function within the organization that has to have its own funding and own budgeting within the organization, not from the project budget.
There is a question, how can I be proactive to measure and ensure that my customer is satisfied? Probably if there is still no customer satisfaction management department. What could a project manager do himself or herself?
Do you have data? Are you capturing data, usage data of the product that you have delivered or you have sold? This is the main key of making sure that you are proactive with the customer. You have to understand if they are using the product or not, or the project that you have delivered or not. And you have to have data and metrics that you are measuring against regularly to make sure that they are using it at the best possible way. So if you don't have the data, you are not doing a customer success management job.
Yeah, very good. There just came a question, and I think it was a question back on your response earlier about the scope of the project and whether customer success management is within the scope or outside the scope. So customer success manager is responsible. Is he responsible for budgeting? Customer success manager, whether he's responsible for any project cost be associated with customer success management, and if this part was making, oh my god, the chat is jumping back and forth, so I have to scroll back to find the question. Sorry for that. Exactly, and this making conflict between project manager and customer success manager. So, in your opinion, the project should not incur any cost on customer success management. It should be outside the scope and be done within the organization as a whole. All right.
Yes.
I think it answers the questions. Customer success management related to product scope from its cloud. It would be totally rely on a type of contract sign off. Yeah. So some people are the opinion that it should be included in the project. It could be everything is then somewhere connected. In your experience, how many companies actually follow post-implementation review in UAE?
I don't have the numbers, no.
You guys are following all your customer implementation.
Yeah.
I think so. I hope so.
And again, most of the subscription-based companies, like platform as a service or software as a service companies that I have interacted with, usually do have a customer success management department.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just looking through the questions, and I think we have pretty much covered all the areas. What's the biggest challenge encountered? Ah, this is a good one. What is your personal biggest challenge that you have encountered as customer success manager, and how have you solved it?
I would say my biggest challenge was the notion or the culture of are you buying a service or are you buying a product? And what do you get with this? So at the beginning, like the question that was asked earlier about how can we say no, or how can we tell the customer that we have this or we have that. That was one of the main issues that when I started with the organization that I was part with, I felt that all the customers had the idea that we can ask for any kind of customization on the product that we want. Like we're buying the product, we're paying that sum of money into the product, and we can get whatever we want. And it took me a lot of effort to establish a process, a proper communication process and a proper onboarding process that I actually had to work with my sales team very heavily on making sure that, first of all, when we sell the product, we're selling the product as it is. This is what we have. This is what we can do. This is coming in the roadmap, but we don't do anything else other than that. And where I would like the main challenge was I had to work a lot with the sales team to ensure that this is a communication that we give out to our customers. And then the customers, whether they are returning customers or new customers, to understand the process and the policy that we have, or like, this is the product that you bought and this is how it works, and communicating it very clearly from the beginning. It was tough at the beginning because you had to change the mindset of salespeople. You had to change the mindset of customers who were actually used to a certain way of communicating with you into a different way. But surprisingly, and I was actually conflicting and fighting a lot with sales team and like a lot of escalation meetings and a lot of, like, we had to sit with the CEO all the time, and they were attacking me because I was trying to put a process into play. Surprisingly, those customers who we educated them and worked with them into understanding the process and the policy of our customer success strategy were the customers that continued to live with us and work with us for years and years to come after that. So it was tough at the beginning. That was the main challenge, is putting in the culture into play and making sure that this is our customer lifecycle strategy. This is what we do. This is what we sell. This is how we're going to deal with our customers. This is how we're going to communicate with them. Make sure it's there. Make sure that sales are using it. the whole company actually having that kind of philosophy and ensuring that customers are communicated to properly with what we have. Once we are able to establish this, it was business as usual. So one delivery to the other, one customer to the other, we were doing the same job every day and just improving it as we go.
Very good, very good. I also have one example. I was actually on the customer side, and we were using software, a market software, but because our bank was the single biggest client of this small software development company, project or our bank was kind of dictating the rules. So we were, saying we want to have that feature, we want to have that feature. You should implement it in your standard program because you're not developing it for us, but for the standard. So it was a pretty tough time for their development team and their account manager because they didn't have customer relationship manager. So that's something also to think on the strategical part of the service providing companies to have a more diversified and more evened out customer base, not to be dictated by one big customer and be dependent on one big customer, I think. Do you agree on that? Yeah. How can you deliver bad news to customers?
Just be honest, be clear about it. If you have this, you have it. If you don't have it, you have to say it. You have to be very honest and clear about it. Take the risk. There's nothing worse than actually lying to your customer or giving them wrong impression or setting wrong expectations. I'd be clear, I'd set the right expectations, way better in maintaining the life cycle and lifetime with the customer than trying and working hard to try to find a workaround that doesn't work.
Right. There is a question that obviously all companies are different and handling their customer success management departments in different ways. Whether there is a universal body of knowledge, you have showed a little bit of the organization and the sources of how that could be created, but maybe you can add some more to that.
Yes, so there isn't a body of knowledge, like not similar to PMI, not similar to PMBOK, for example, where there's a project management body of knowledge, where like all project managers of most project managers in the world follow the guidelines. It's not yet there, but there are several associations, US-based associations and European-based associations about customer success. There are a lot of communities, and people are learning from the industry. So like if we talk about something like the Project Management Institute, it was established in what, 40s or 50s, something like this. It's an old, 50 years ago. So it's an old organization. And it took a lot of years to establish the body of knowledge and to establish the PMBOK in the version that we have right now. In terms of customer success, not yet. It is relatively new. Yes, in the slides I was talking that the first time the term customer success management was in around 1996. But in reality, people started to adopt the idea of customer success management post 2005. So it's only a 10, 15 years old job role or concept. There isn't a standard customer success body of knowledge that people are referring to, but there are a lot of books in the market. I think someone from Salesforce wrote a book and it was very famous and popular, and that person is now working in Cisco, but I'm not really sure who it was exactly, but there are a lot of references over there, a lot of communities coming up, people meeting up, networking events that are happening, and definitely at some point in time there will be a definite definition of what customer success management is, but at the moment there's no standard for it.
Right. Another question about the standard. If success criteria are limited to a type of a commodity within the industry, like there's no differentiation success criteria, how would that be tackled, and whether that's feasible in like ever increasing customer centricity? Have you come across success criteria as a commodity within the customers market?
I really don't get the question, but
I think that the question, person Ahmad, if you Salih Saab, if you're still there, maybe you can help us with the question. But the way I understand this question is that you cannot really differentiate. So you have a standard product with standard success criteria. Whether that would be possible at all, whether you have ever come across a situation that you cannot evaluate whether a customer is satisfied or not satisfied.
Again, who is using the product? Is it the customer or someone else? If it is the customer, then customer success criteria or customer satisfaction criteria should be in play, and there should be different ways of capturing it and measuring it.
I think so too. What is the methodology of developing customer success strategy? We have discussed that a lot.
Strategy, process, and procedures. So again, there is no body of knowledge, but there are a lot of lessons learned and a lot of experiences that are there online. Some of them are free, actually, to check it out. But establish the right customer success process when it comes to onboarding, when it comes to delivery, when it comes to responding to communication or proactively communicating, how you're reading data and how you're adding value to the organization and to the customer, and how you're maintaining a lower churn rates and combating churn. So establish the process, establish the procedures, and the tools follow, and start using them to have a strong customer success department while growing to improve it as you go.
We have a comment in the chat section from Guide Kazi saying, why don't you read our questions in the Q&A icon? I'm sorry, I have missed your question, but maybe you could just post it again. So I have it at the bottom and then I will address it.
Trying to find it. I'm actually looking for it, trying to find it.
What is the methodology for developing customer success management strategy?
In renewable energy projects. I think I found the question, what about customer success management in renewable energy projects? Again, it all depends on the industry that you are in. Right now, I'm speaking about IT industry more or less, or software industry more or less. However, if you are an organization that is producing products that are being used by customers, and you are concerned about retaining the relationship with the customer for a longer term, then you need to establish a customer lifecycle management strategy, which entails having a customer success department, or a customer success unit that ensures that you have high customer success satisfaction and retention on the board.
How would benefit realization and customer success be different, or is it the same?
Actually, there is a lot of overlap between them. The only difference technically, I would say, is that benefit realization is part of the Project Management Institute body of knowledge, which the terminology is different between it and customer success. But at the end, if the purpose of the benefit realization is value delivery, and value delivery to the product and to the customer that is using the product, then there is a big overlap between it and customer success.
Thanks, dear. So some appreciation for you for answering the questions. We are trying to get all the questions, and as you see, we took an really extensive Q&A session. So we really hope that you have got answers to most of your questions. And thank you for being so active. There is one more. How can you improve the churn rate so that the customer would not leave us? It's something measurable. So what would be some of the ideas to just tackle it?
Make sure they're using the product, first of all, first and foremost. If someone is using the product, is happy with the product, and is satisfied about the product, he'll most probably renew, unless there comes a situation or circumstance where he does not have the budget to renew. That's a whole different story. But if he has the budget, he's happy with the product, he's using it, he's getting the value out of it, he's getting the return on investment on using that product, then for sure he will most probably be a healthy customer who's going to renew. So keep an open communication, keep an eye on code red customers, who are customers that their licenses are about to expire. Maybe like you have an annual license and it's almost 3 months until the license expires. Start giving them more calls, start understanding them, meet with them, have physical meetings or virtual meetings like we're all having them right now from our homes. Try to understand how they're using the product. Try to communicate with them regularly through newsletters, through digital digests, through product updates. Tell them about what's new in the product that you are building. Show them that you are an organization that is concerned about the industry that this person is part of or this customer is part of, and that you are aware of everything that is new about this industry and that your product is catering for that. Show them all of that and get their feedback if they have something that they're not satisfied with. And if you have any plans in the product roadmap, communicate it. All of these activities, this is part of the daily life of a customer success manager. So all this kind of activities, when you do, this can help reduce the churn rate. There is no such thing as a 0% churn rate, or maybe you can have a month or 2 months where you have 0% churn rate. But some people will renew, some will not renew, but as much as you can, try to reduce that percentage to a small number, which can reach like 3 or 4% of your existing customers if you're a successful organization. Like the norm or a good number would be 3 or 4% churn rate, something like this.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much. And I think we can wrap it up because we are done with the questions, and I hope you got answers either in exact wording to your questions or more inferred from the other questions or answers. We do hope you have appreciated it.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. Like I just wanted to say, like if anyone had any other questions and I didn't manage to answer them in this session, please connect with me on LinkedIn. This is my email address, or you can actually email me also on mina.chawi@pmiue.org. I will definitely get back to you if I have the answer for sure. But thank you for all the questions that we had, and if we missed anyone, we're sorry, but again, it was a lot of questions, so we try to cover as much as we can.
Yes, and if you liked it, please, show also put some comments on LinkedIn or on other social media platforms. And in this situation, you are our customers, and we hope that you had today a very nice, positive experience. And if you liked it, go ahead, tell us and post it. And if you have interesting topics, we are hosting many events, many live online events. So get in touch with us, with our knowledge manager, and we will be very happy to hear about your topic, about your specific aspect of project management profession, or any tangential with our profession, and maybe you're the next speaker. So thank you so much for everyone who stayed until this late hour, this Ramadan evening, and it was great having you with us. Mina, do you also want to add something?
Yeah, just wanted to let you know we have right now also scheduled the upcoming webinar this Saturday night, the Ramadan edition at 10 p.m. So you will be receiving emails about our upcoming session, but please go to our website or our social media to find out more about our webinars and our events. And like Natalia was mentioning earlier, if you have a topic that you want to speak about, or if you have something, it does not have to be entirely like project management related. If it's a different topic that we all want to hear about and listen about and learn from, please reach out to our knowledge management team and tell us about the topic that you want, your available timings, and we will be happy to host your session with us. Yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you so much for attending.
Maybe shortly the slide with the address of knowledge management. I think it's knowledge.manager@pmiuae.org. Okay, so thank you so much and hope to see you next time.
Ciao. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. In session